guys, welcome back to my channel. This video is gonna be my eyeshadow palette collection video. We have 3 drawers to go through. Here's drawer number 1, drawer number 2, and we've got drawer number 3. It's gonna be a long video. Get yourself comfortable. I hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, and now let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the first eyeshadow palette drawer. A lot of the stuff that's in here is Pat McGrath. There are a few Dose of Colors and McGrath Cosmetics, like the majority of this drawer. Yeah, we're gonna pull everything out. I'm gonna show you what the palettes look like. We'll do a couple swatches. So let's get on it. I have quite a few, like I said, Pat McGrath palettes. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull all of the little ones out, and then we'll get started with her motherships, and then we'll move on to the smaller palettes and like the limited edition palettes. I already prepped for this video, so I already opened all of the little strings on the palettes, just to make it a little bit quicker. The first one we're going to talk about, I do not have her number 1 and number 2. I have the third one, Mothership Subversive. Okay, I do have one more palette, a 6-pan palette that goes really well with this one. Go ahead and show you what she looks like. Ooh. She's been loved for sure. Look at this shade. That's the most loved shade, I would say. This bluish purpley shade over here is absolutely stunning as well. Let's go ahead and swatch this one too. And you know what? We can't not swatch this baby over here. So let's do that. Here we go. Hopefully my swatches are a-okay. Sometimes I'm really cold and nothing shows up real well. But there she is. Oh, she's so beautiful. Really pretty eyeshadow palette. And then I guess we'll go ahead and talk about the other one that I think goes really well with this one. It's a 6-pan, and this is the Mothership Subversive La Vie en Rose. All of the shades that are in here are, well, I think it goes really well with the other palette. This is probably one of my favorite lilac, no, not lilac, but violet shades. It's so pretty. Let's do this one too, because this is another really beautiful one. Here we go. Yeah, these pair together very nicely, the two palettes. There she goes. Okay, let's move on to the next Mothership palette. The next one that I have is the Mothership 4. This is the Decadence eyeshadow palette, and the packaging of this one is slightly different than her other Mothership palettes. It doesn't have like the twisty ribbon. It just comes like this, which is fine, no big deal. And then you still have the card for the shades, the name of the shades. This one is not as loved in my collection as some of her other Mothership palettes. There's no particular reason why not. I just don't reach for it that often. This is a beautiful taupey, glowy shade. This like greenish shade over here, green blue. I don't know how to describe that shade. That is so beautiful. I have a thing for purple, so let's go ahead and do the purple shade in here as well. And why don't we swatch this gold one, because that is just stunning. Okay, where are we gonna do this? We're gonna do this over here. Look at that beautiful like taupey shade. Ooh, stunning. And that gold, man, that is a definite yellow gold. I think that gold shade is called Gold Standard. That bluish shade is Lapis Luxury. The purpley one is called Blue Blood. And then the taupey shade is called Enigma. So beautiful. All right, let's move along. We've got the Mothership 5. This has to be my favorite Pat McGrath palette. Well, I have 2 that I really like. I really like this one, and I really like the Utopian Dream. But this is the first Pat McGrath palette I picked up, and you know, I just fell in love. This is the Mothership 5 Bronze Seduction. she's absolutely stunning. I love it. I really, really, really love this palette. I have a really nice dip in this shade, this shade, this shade. This shade has some good use on it. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch. Let's swatch this one. We gotta do this, the pinky. Oh my gosh, heavenly. Let's do this one over here, and then let's do this shade over here. Swatch these shades. Here we go. Here's that pink toppery kind of shade, that bronzy, and we got that greenish looking, and then the white gold one. Look at that. Ooh, if you're looking for special, like the special effects shades from Pat McGrath, this palette definitely delivers that. Next up, we've got the Mothership 6. I have this one in the original packaging, and I also have it in the Star Wars packaging, which she released not that long ago. Let me go ahead and show you the original packaging. This is called the Midnight Sun, and the shades in here are absolutely reflective of a sun. But why is it Midnight Sun? I don't know. Like this orangey shade. Whew. She is really beautiful. Let's do this one. So this gold over here. I'm gonna do this guy. We're swatching all her beautiful shades, I guess. Let's see. We'll do these over here. Look at that. Oh, I mean, that is such a beautiful. Okay, like I get that. I get sun from these, you know. And that purple. Ooh. Pretty, pretty. And then let me go ahead and show you the Star Wars one. The only difference is like the outer packaging, and then the palette on the inside, like the lid is Star Wars. It is kind of protruded out. It is such a beautiful artwork. It's really, really pretty. The palette on the inside is exactly the same. This is not swatch, and I am not gonna swatch it. I'm just gonna keep it like this. So there she goes. All right, moving along, let's do the Mothership 7. I consider the Mothership 7 as like a neutral everyday palette. This is the Divine Rose. Do you really need to buy a Pat McGrath palette for a neutral everyday palette? Probably not, but this is what this reminds me of. It's just kind of like neutral. You just want to get ready, and then you want to bump it up for a night out. You just end up using these shades, or you know, I would go to work with this shade all over my lid. Let's go ahead and swatch. We're gonna swatch some of these shades over here. There you go. This is another kind of like that taupey shade that we swatched earlier from which Mothership? Mothership 4? Yeah, the Mothership 4, the Decadence one. So I think I swatched the Decadence one right here. So let's do it closer to it. There. They're a little bit different. Like this is more cooler tone than this one. It's more on the grayish side, where this one has like a little bit of purple in it, purpley a little bit to it. But this is a beautiful everyday palette. Again, it's pretty easy to use. Do you need it? If you're buying a Pat McGrath palette, I would buy one that has more special effects kind of shades, like the 5 palette, the Bronze Seduction one, or any of the others. It doesn't have to be the Bronze Seduction. Divine Rose 2. This is the Mothership 8. This is really, really pretty as well. I guess, is it the 8 or is it the Utopian Dream that I like more? I can't say. They're both absolutely stunning. This is more like a Valentine pinky palette, super beautiful. This multi-chrome over here is just amazing. The Utopian Dream has another multi-chrome, but a little bit different, so I'll show you that one in a minute. But look at this shade. Let's do, I really like this pink shade in here as well. It's really beautiful. Let's do this gold And then let's do this shade over here. Let me show you what these look like. Here we go. So here's that multi-chrome shade. It's stunning. It is so beautiful. Look at that. So pretty. And then we've got, next up, we have the Mothership 9, which is the Utopian Dream. Ugh, that's gotta be another favorite of mine. She is beautiful. Every time I want to play with it or I want to do my makeup, my son picks out this one for me. He really likes it too. So it has that multi-chrome. It's just a little bit different than the other one. It has a different shift to it. So I'll show you this one swatched next to the other one. I do want to show you this shade because it's beautiful. Let's do this gold, which is kind of like got flaky a little bit. And then let's do this purple because that's another stunning shade. And I guess we'll do it over here so you can see the difference between the different multi-chromes. So there's the first multi-chrome in the Mothership 9, Mothership 8, the Divine Rose 2, and this is in the Utopian Dream. So they're a little bit different, but there, look at this purple. My God, it is so stunning. Okay, I'm gonna keep my arm just like this because we only have one more Mothership. This is the Mothership 10, and her name is the Moonlit Seduction. I love the artwork on all of her packaging, and this one is kind of like a neutrals palette, but more amped up than the 7. So if you're looking for a neutrals palette, I would recommend this one over the Mothership 7, just because this has these shades in here that are just to die for. Like, they're beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch a couple of those. Oh, feels so nice and so creamy. Yeah, we're gonna swatch these over here. Here we go. That shade. Oh my God. How could you not? How could you not fall in love? How could you not fall in love? Ooh, so pretty. Oh my gosh, that's like jewels on the eye. All right, so these were all of the Mothership palettes. We're gonna go ahead and talk about, let's move on to her like biggest ones, which were the holiday palettes. I have 2 of her holiday palettes. I do not have the 3rd one that she released last year. The colors just did not attract me at all. So it was just too much color for me, and I figured I have the first holiday and the second holiday. I'm good. This is the Celestial Divinity. A really pretty palette. It's got quite a bit of jewel tones, quite a bit of beautiful shimmers in here. It has only 2 or 3 mattes. 1, 2. Is this a matte? Yeah, this is a matte shade as well. Matte shade as well. So it doesn't have a whole lot of matte shades in it, but it would be a perfect companion for some other eyeshadow palette. I swatched this one. I'm gonna go ahead. Let's swatch this shade, and how about this one? I want to show you what they look like. Okay, so here's that matte, the first matte shade, and then you got that fuchsia, purple fuchsia, I don't know. There's that olive green shade, and then the last shade, which I did, was that purple with like shimmers in it. It's a really, really pretty palette. Again, I find it better like with a different palette, like companion to a different palette, or it's really nice for 1 or 2 shadow looks. It's really pretty for that. Now let's talk about, ooh, I dirtied my drawer. I think I'm gonna have to wash my arm. It looks so pretty, but I don't want to wash it. The second Mothership, not Mothership, well, actually it is called the Mothership. This is the Mothership Mega, and this is the Celestial Odyssey. So this was not last year's holiday palette, but the year before. I do really like the packaging on this one more than the first one she released. And I feel like this one is a little bit more toned down. It does not have as bright purples as the other one does, but it's still a beautiful, beautiful palette. This has more mattes in it, and it has more like satiny shades, as well as like the glitter. And these here are like kind of creamy, but they are, they're not like cream shadows, but they feel like a cream shadow. Do you want to swatch this one? It's another creamy, like feeling shadow. And let's do this lighter green in here because that is so pretty. Let's do swatches of these. Here's that green shade I picked up last. Here they are. Ooh, beautiful, beautiful shade. You can see like the texture of this one. I did pick up quite a bit of product, but you know, like, look at that. You can swatch it again. Yeah, I feel like I get more use of this one more than the first holiday Mothership Mega palette. All right, we've got more Pat McGrath. Let's put these in here, and let me go ahead and pull in the other ones, the smaller ones, back in here as well. Okay, now I really gotta clean my beautiful, beautiful arms and swatches. Okie doke, let's move on to her smaller palettes. We'll go ahead and get started with the 6-pan ones. I have 1, 2, 3. We have this one and this one as well. So let's do these. We have the Mothership Sublime. This is the Bronze Ambition, and this is sounds exactly as it sounds, bronze palette. The colors in here is a beautiful kind of like bronzy travel palette. The formula in here is super nice. All the shades perform really, really beautiful. I love it. I don't have any complaints about it. I don't know that I actually would travel with a Pat McGrath palette, but you know, if I wanted to, I could. My arm is super shimmery from the previous shades, all the special effects shades we swatched earlier. But yeah, beautiful bronzy palette. Next up, we have the Mothership Sublime Bronze Temptation. I feel like this is just a Christmas in eyeshadow palette. This green in here, this like reddish color. It's just, this is, I call it my Christmas palette. I do like to combine this one with the Mothership 5. The bronze something. I feel like they go together really well. See, there's like the red and the green. It's beautiful. It's really, really pretty. We have Metamorphosis. Not Metal Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. This is the Mothership Subversive. This is all shimmery shades. Beautiful shimmery purple. We got, what's it called? I feel like, is it platinum? You got white, silver, gold, bronze. Got all the, got copper bronze. She calls this one gold standard. So let me go ahead and show you that purple. Look at that purple. Like, how amazing is that? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move along to this one. This is the Mothership eyeshadow palette in the Rose Decadence. My friend Mariella was decluttering this one, and she asked me if I would be interested. And I was like, heck yeah, I want to try it out. I did not have this one. I feel like this is just a beautiful Valentine's Day kind of look. Or if you want to wear pink any day. On Wednesdays we wear pink, but you know, whatever. Well, any day you want to use this one, it gives you that kind of like romantic look. That matte is not her best matte, but look at the other shades in there, like those pink shades, and so pretty. Okay, let's do the Bridgerton collab. This is Diamond of the First Water. I did not pick up her second Bridgerton collab, but this one I could not resist. And I love these two shades over here. Like my blue is so dirty, but I want to show you this one. Oh, my fingers are stained already. We just started. How are we already stained? There. I did not get a good swatch of this pink one, so let's do that again. And let's do this one. There we go. Kind of reminds me of a Cinderella palette. I don't know why. I call it the Cinderella palette. Okay, let's move on. I have these two. Actually, let's do this one, the 5-pan. We all down to 5-pan and 4-pans. Oh, we have 1 6-pan, which is tiny. Let's do it. This is the Pat McGrath Labs Midnight Voyage. This is the mini eyeshadow palette. She released another one of these that was like more bronze recently. I actually really enjoyed this one. Do I think it's $29? Like, is it worth $29? Probably not. But it is Pat McGrath palettes. I mean, it's relatively cheap compared to her other ones. Relatively cheap. But this purple over here, oof. So this shade over here too. And then this deep plummy shade. She is so pretty. There they are. Now, let's go ahead and talk about this one over here. Well, let's do the 5-pan. The 5-pan, it's kind of that plasticky packaging, but you still get to try the Pat McGrath. This was the cheapest one she released. This is the Eye Ecstasy Sublime eyeshadow palette, and it's all shimmery shades in here. It's really pretty. I would say that it's a beautiful palette. Like, do you really need it if you have all of the other ones? Probably not. You don't, but we're gonna go ahead and do some swatches because we're here to play with some makeup today. We're making our time. We're making some time to play with makeup, because who doesn't like that? Where are we gonna do it? I can't believe all the shimmers on my arm. There they are. Really pretty, but again, not really necessary if you have the other ones. Okay, we've got a couple more 5-pan shades. Let's do those, and then we'll do the 4-pans. I gotta go clean my arm. Okay, 5-pan shades. I picked up these two recently at TJ Maxx. I was really surprised to even find them at TJ Maxx. The Celestial Nirvana. This one is in the bronze Bliss, and this one is Nude Allure. Let's start with the bronze Bliss. Here she is. We're gonna do swatches, because why wouldn't we? Let's do these shades. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. That grayish shade is the only matte, and it's kind of not swatching very nicely. There. It's not what you would think when you think about a what is it called, like a Nude Allure, a Bronze Bliss. I don't think of that when I think about bronze. Like, I don't think about a gray shade like that, gray matte shade. Now this is the Nude Allure one. And with this one, let's go ahead and do these swatches. I'll do this shade, this, and this. getting close to swatching it all. Maybe I should have just swatched all 5 shades. Here. I need to play with this one. It was still sitting in my new makeup drawer ever since I picked it up at TJ Maxx. I still have not played with this one or the bronze one. The bronze, I keep forgetting its name. Bronze Bliss. I haven't played with these two. We have these Star Wars ones. These are all 5 pans. Sith Seduction is the first one. Or it's one of the 3. I do really like the packaging. It just kind of, I don't know how to store them. So I have to store them like standing up or, you know, just so I don't damage the packaging. I do want to swatch this shade over here because that is just beautiful. We're going to do this shade. How about we do this one too? Felt like I barely dipped into these 3 shades because I don't want to be cleaning my arms for days to come. Okay. Next up, we have the Divine Droid palette. There you go. You got the droid on there. This is a lot more colorful. I'm gonna do this lighter lime green. Let's do this blue. Let's do this pink because ooh, why not? Here we go. And then the last Star Wars one is the golden one. It's called the golden one. There it is. And there's the packaging. So beautiful. The blues on here are so pretty. We're gonna do this shade, and this shade. Trying to get comfortable over here. So the Pat McGrath, more Pat McGrath. This is the same palette. I just have a backup. This is the Venus on Fleurs Voyeuristic Vixen. Let me show you what she looks like. It's probably my favorite palette to travel with. I love it. I can do just this shade all over, like the crease, and then deepen it up, or all over the lid into the crease, and like really deepen it up in the outer V. I can apply this all over the lid. I can top it with this one or this in the inner corner. It's a beautiful palette, and it's just 4 pans, which is, you know, fantastic. I do want to swatch it. I have a dip on all of them. I did hit pan in this one shade, which is rare for me to hit pan in an eyeshadow palette. And that's why we have a backup of it, because I do not like to have eyeshadow palettes with holes in them. So there, look at this beautiful, like beautiful shade. And this one, oh, gotta be one of my favorite shades, like in general. Goes really well with my eyes, my eye color, and my complexion. Let me show you what she looks like brand new. There. You wouldn't think that this shade is the same as this shade, huh? Like, you wouldn't think that this shade is the same as this shade, but it is. It is. It's pretty. And then the last Pat McGrath palettes, I think that's the last one. I don't think I have any more anywhere else. This is the Celestial Odyssey. This is the Bronze Borealis. I think this one came... No, I don't think it came out at the same time as the... I don't think so. I think there was a different one in between, or with that one. I haven't used this one yet. She's still brand new, but do we want to touch it? Yeah, let me clean my fingers first. Okay, let's try her out. Okay, we're gonna start with this shade, this, and this. I barely dipped my fingers in there. I'm like, probably was not very good swatching if you don't really get the colors. There. Looks to be a very kind of like a girly suitable for everyday eyeshadow palette. Okay, we got through the Pat McGrath palettes in this drawer. Let me go ahead and pull the things that are kind of like, let me pull all of these palettes forward. There's quite a bit of melt, dose of colors. There, I have a couple Natasha Denona's in here, which I'll probably I won't do the Natasha Denona until we move on to the next drawer, because I have more Natasha Denona in there. We got these. This is Natasha Denona. Let me see. And then here's the drawers. Got more Natasha Denona in it, and Nars and whatnot. So I'm gonna try to combine a brand. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Before I move on to like those of colors, melt, or anything else, let's do the Tom Ford, and then let's do the, I don't have much Charlotte Tilbury, and then we'll do a Charlotte Tilbury, and then I'll move on to the other brands. We've got Tom Ford. This is the only Tom Ford eyeshadow palette I have. This is the Honeymoon Quad. Definitely different eyeshadow palette, I would say. It's more of a elevated kind of look. It's not bam in your face. It's very sophisticated kind of look. I know that sounds, you're like, what does that even mean? You wouldn't know, or I didn't know until I like started really playing with this one. It's different. It's absolutely like the formula is different. It's super easy to blend, and on the eye it just looks, you know, like easy, ready for a, I don't know, a meeting kind of look. There she is. I like it. I don't love it, which is, for this price, you should love it. Okay, let's do Charlotte Tilbury. We've got one of her bigger palettes, and we've got two of her quads. I'm gonna start with the quads. I had to pick this one up. This was holiday last year. This is the luxury palette of pearls, Celestial Pearl. This reminds me a lot of Pat McGrath eyeshadow palettes, like this shade and this shade. There's really not as much product in here as a Pat McGrath palette would, but do you really need that much product? This is like $50 something, and then the motherships are $125, $129. So it depends on what you're looking for and how much you need, but it's really, really pretty. It's another palette, kind of like the Tom Ford one, that you have a meeting and you want to look put together and you still want to play with a little bit of special effects shades. Perfect for that. The other Charlotte Tilbury quad that I have is the Exagger Eyes, and this is like the bigger, brighter eye filter palette. This is a pretty standalone palette. It does have a matte, it does have two satiny shades, and it does have that kind of like shimmery, glittery effect palette. Here's the matte, and here are the shimmery shades. They're not anywhere near as intense as Pat McGrath palettes, but it's different, you know. I'm gonna try and build it up a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. Really easy to use too. There. Okay, next up from Charlotte Tilbury, we've got Pillow Talk Instant Eye Palette. This was a gift from my husband, and I really, really like it. It's got like the 4 different trios: Date Trio, Dusk, Date, and Dream Trio. Same formula, or maybe a little bit better formula than her quads. Her quads are, but she's really, really pretty. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch it. I gotta go clean my my towel, that, you know, my makeup remover. Okay, so since we started with kind of the luxury eyeshadow palettes, I'm going to move on to my second drawer, which includes more of the luxury eyeshadow palettes. It does have the Natasha Denona's, Nars, and all that. So we'll do those, and then we'll come back to this drawer and move on to like high-end, and then lastly, we'll do drugstores. So we'll keep it luxury, and then we'll move on to high end. Let's start with the 5 pans by Natasha Denona. I do not have as many Natasha Denona palettes as I have Pat McGrath. Simply because I prefer the formula that Pat McGrath has. I do like those really shimmery shades on my eyes. So, but there's still a few Natasha Denona that always call my attention, and I want to try them and play with them. I'll start with the smallest one, which is the Retro palette. Mini Retro, extremely mini retro. I did take this one with me on travel, and I really enjoyed it. It's super easy to use. 3 shades. You can get a beautiful look. Oh my goodness, my swatching right now is just failing me. I'm trying not to pick up too much product, because then I'll have to wipe on my arm for a long time, and I don't want a raw arm. We have a lot to go still. So there she is. My arm's still a little moist from the makeup wipe, but she's really pretty. There. Next up, from Natasha Denona, we've got the mini gold palette. I do have the gold palette by itself. I do not have the retro, but I do have the gold palette. Like the full size the big one. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna do a couple of these swatches, because again, we're here to play with makeup. We're here to see what it's all about, right? I feel like this is a better match for me for a gold palette than her big gold palette. I'll show you the next gold, like the full-size gold palette, in a second. But look at these khaki green shades. So pretty. Now the big gold palette, which is this one. I think this was the first Natasha Denona I purchased. And I really like it. It's just, the mini is just a little bit different, you know? This one has definitely those kind of like same special effects shades as Pat McGrath one palette has. They're not the same exact, but they perform just beautifully too. I'm gonna go ahead and show you these. Look how creamy. These super creamy shades. I do like it. It's been a while since I played with it. I need to start playing with it again. What do we have next? This is the retro, mini retro. So we've got like super mini retro, retro palette, mini retro, lots of retros. I do not have the full-size retro. I don't know, we just don't have her. And this one is which one? The Cupid palette. Okay, the mini retro is another, I feel like this is I just want a romantic look. I just want to do my makeup for a night out for my husband. I just want to look girly is what I think of this palette. There. Very girly shades, very, I guess, retro, very easy, very not bam in your face. Beautiful. Okay, let's do the other 5 pans, which is the Cupid. I really like this one too. I have traveled with this one before. It does have more matte shades. It's got 3 mattes, and then it's got 2 shimmer shades. I'm gonna do the matte. I kind of want to do them over here. There. Cupid palette. Okay, the bigger Natasha Denona palettes. Let's do those real quick. I'm gonna hold on to the Glam Face palette for a second. Let's do the bronze palette. There. I had, what was the pink one of these called? Sunrise or Sunset? What was it called? Sunset is this one. Must have been Sunrise. I did let go of that one. I kept getting the same kind of look with it, and I did not really enjoy that so much. I'm gonna do a couple swatches here. I want to swatch the shade. This reminds me of a shade that is in the Dream Palette by Nabla. This one over here. Let's do this one, which is called Deep Dive. That's the Deep Dive shade. And it's the one shade that I said reminds me of the Dream Palette by Nabla. You can see that the formula of her bigger pans, it's definitely better. I feel like you get more pigmentation, you get more intensity of her other shades, like compared to the mini palettes she has. Is it just me that feel that way? Well, I don't know, maybe. Okay, now we're gonna have to pull out normal wipes. They don't do anything. Okay, let's do the Sunset palette. This been around for a long time. I remember when this one came out, and there's so many other brands wanting to dupe this color story and like dupe in this palette in general. It is a beautiful color story. It's Sunset, name for it is very appropriate. Ooh, I picked up too much product. Picked up way too much product. Huh. I need to pick up some more of this like reddish shade, which is the shade Pangen 132 cm. It's gotta be matte. What's matte? Cool matte. Here. Really pretty sunsetty shade, and my gosh, my fingers are stained. Okay, two more Natasha Denonas. Okay, let's do this. My Dream Palette. This is the newest one to me. This came in a Cult Beauty. No, what was it? There was Beautylish, the Lucky Bag. I could not believe that I got this palette. I really wanted it when it first came out, but I got a Huda palette and I regretted that decision. I got rid of that one. She is so beautiful. I do want to use the shade Edgy. Okay, my fingers are stained beyond staining. I don't feel like it's picking up any color right now. There. Let's do... They move in here because these are, you can like move them, move their places, organize them however you want. Vision is this one. It's a trichrome, multi-chrome. This is the shade Invention. And this is the shade Babies. Look at these. Ooh, baby. Pretty. And then we got one last Natasha Denona Glam Face Palette. I had the dark one, and this is, I think this is called Light. This is the light. So I had light and dark. Now she has the pink one. I passed on the dark one to my friend. It's just the shades were too dark on my eyes. It did not look very flattering. And I kept this one. And I'm considering getting the pink. The eyeshadows in here are so stinking beautiful. So beautiful. There they are. Ooh, pretty. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the face duo that are in here. We've got the blush and the highlighter. The blush did give me quite a bit of hard time. It still gives me a hard time. I feel like the formula of this blush is not the best. I do like the formula of the blush that was in the dark palette, but the eyeshadows did not look so good on me. So here's this blush. It's really hard to like pick up, and then you end up picking up either too much, or it gives me a hard time. I have to be very precise with whatever brush I use to pick it up. But there she is. Those are the face duo. Okay, I think I'm gonna move on to, I do have Danessa Myricks. I have Cleona, so I want to do these. I have this guy. I want to do Nars, and then I'm gonna save the other palettes for the second part of this video. Where is the other Nars? Nars and Nars. So let's do these real quick, and then I'm gonna have to split this video into 2 parts because you guys, we're gonna be here for a long time if I try and do it all in one. I'm gonna start with this Cleona palette. Let me make sure my fingers and my arm is really clean, because this one will deserve all the shades to be swatched. Cleona. Ooh, it's upside down. Ooh, let me clean her up real quick. Look at these shades. These 3 were sent to me by my friend Barbie, and then these 4 with the palette were sent to me by my friend Valerie for my birthday 1 year. Is it birthday, Christmas, something like that? I do want to swatch it all, so I'm gonna get started. It's really hard to tell what the names are. I would have to like really flip the shades over to read out the names. If you really want to know, let me know in the comments below, and then I'll add it to the description box, or I'll respond to your comment. If you're like, hey, what are those shades? Let me know, okay? So that's the first 3. I'm gonna swatch it all because you have to see these beautiful shades. And then we got the last row. These are best applied with the finger or with a flat brush. Look at them all. So beautiful. Really, really pretty shimmery shades. Very unique colors. The formula is really fantastic. I love it. I love every single shade of these. So there we go. That's Cleona. I'm going to do Danessa Myricks, and then let's do Nars after that. Okay, let's do Danessa. The Danessa Myricks palette that I have is the Lightwork Volume 3. I do have quite a few of her single shadows, like her cream ones, her multi-chromes. I have a couple of her singles, but I only have one of her palettes. This is so pretty. These 2 are creamy shades. Oh, just the one, sorry. I don't know why did I think this was a creamy one as well, but these are beautiful. So here's that creamy shade, and that's the one below it. Okay. Let's do this, and this. Look at these. So stunning, you guys. They are so beautiful. From Nars, I've got a few. I got, I guess, 5. Should we do Adapt? We'll wait on that one. Yeah, let's do Nars. We'll start with the smallest one, which is one that I travel with quite often because it's so easy, so small, so compact, and I don't have to cry if it breaks. This is the Laguna palette. I really like this one. I have pretty good dips in all of the shades in here, but I do really enjoy this palette. Let me show you these colors. It's perfect for work eyeshadow palette, you know? Just typically when I travel, it will be for work. Okay, next up from Nars, we've got the Narcissist. This is the Wanted palette. Don't hear many people talking about these. I do want to swatch these beautiful shades. I know, as soon as I opened it, that's where your eyes went, isn't it? Or didn't they? That's where my eyes go as soon as I open this palette. Here we go. Ooh, pretty. Okay, let's do Nars. This is Extreme Effect, which is different. I feel like this is a little bit different formula than the Wanted palette. I do really want to swatch this one for you. This shade, let's do this one. And how about we do this matte? Here's a black, beautiful midnight black. It's not flat matte black. It does have a little bit of a sheen to it, kind of. Looks really pretty on the eyes. There. Let's do Nars Climax. I remember when I first saw this one at a Nordstrom in store and it was sold out, I was devastated. I was on the hunt for it until it finally came back in stock on the Nars website and I ordered it. It is a beautiful fall palette. It is so pretty, you guys. So pretty. Like, who knew Nars could have shades like this, right? Who knew? And then the last Nars palette that I do own is the Nars Orgasm Rising palette. It's another one that when I saw online, I was like, oh, I need. I do like the formula of the Climax palette more than I like the formula in this one, but it's a girly palette. This is a girly palette. The Climax palette is more of a fall, kind of a little bit on the grungy side if you want it to be. Or this one, it's just girly. It's a lovely love palette. There she is. Okay, you guys, we are gonna go ahead and resume eyeshadow palette collections. I'm gonna start with ABH. I do have quite a few ABH. I'm gonna do all of these and then we'll move on to different brands. So let's do ABH. My goodness, there's quite a few. I'm gonna start kind of in order. We've got Modern Renaissance. This is I had the original, I used it, and then I bought a backup. I decluttered it and then got a backup of it. This is a beautiful palette. When it first released, there was nothing like it. And then we started getting all the brands trying to dupe this one or, you know, make more like it. This one is barely touched, like I said, because it is one of the newer ones. I'm gonna resume. I'm gonna do swatches again. You know, I don't swatch every single shade, but sometimes, you know, just a few colors. It's better than no swatches at all. I want to remember how much I loved certain things. So I always end up starting with swatches on a weird spot in my arm, and then I would end up with no space to swatch anything else. And of course, they stained my fingers instead of translating to my arm. There. Modern Renaissance. Next up, we've got the Subculture, which either you love it or you hate it. I loved it. It's getting old now. She's probably, I don't know if I'm gonna, sometimes I debate like, I just want to declutter this palette. And then I'm like, oh no, because I like these grungy shades. What if I want them? What if I miss them? And she's no longer around, then what am I gonna do, you know? So I always have that inner dialogue with myself. Yeah, subculture. Next up, we've got the Prism palette by ABH. I loved this one when it came out. Like, I really, really loved it. And it's been a while since I played with it for some reason. I feel like it's a pretty good companion to the subculture. It has a little bit lighter shades and more shimmery shades that pair pretty nicely with the subculture, I would say. The formula is kind of like her modern Renaissance formula. So I know a lot of people did not like the subculture formula. I do have dips in all of these shades. It's not difficult to get a dip in ABH palette considering how creamy her formula is, but there. Next we have Soft Glam. This is my favorite travel palette, well, used to be. And then I have the Pat McGrath mini and then the Nars one, but this has been loved. I do use this one quite often if I'm doing makeup for some of my friends. Let's say they have like a holiday party they want to go to, or, you know, for someone who's not super comfortable with eyeshadow, this is a beautiful kind of a like soft glam. It's a perfect name for it. It looks good on quite a few people. Next, we've got Norvina. Norvina is a pretty one. She's really beautiful. I'm going to do some of the deeper shades in here. I do really like this shade, so I'm going to swatch this one. Let's do this Love shade. Let's do Eccentric. And why don't we do Drama? We've got, which one is this? This is the Sultry palette. Did this come before Norvina? Maybe it came between Soft Glam and Norvina. I'm not 100% sure. I held off on this one for quite some time because I was thinking it's more of a cool tone palette, but it's really not. It's got a beautiful combination of cool tone, warm tone. It's a really pretty palette. I did end up getting it for a really good deal, really good price, because it was a limited edition one, and then, you know, it went on sale. So I can't complain about that. But yeah, I did hold off on picking this one up, and then when it went on sale, I was like, okay, it's my time to get it. It's really pretty. The shimmers in here are super beautiful. Okay, I know Jackie Aina came before Carly Bible collab, so let's do Jackie Aina. She is so pretty. She needs more love from me. She is absolutely stunning. This was a beautiful, beautiful collab. I do want to do some of the matte shades in here. Big Wig. Let's do Pinker. Let's do Lituation. I don't know what that means. Dolas. I don't even know what that means. I'm sorry, you guys. Do not attack me in the comments. Here. She's so pretty. She's really pretty. And the packaging. Look at the packaging. Like, what in the world? Now we have the Carly Bible one, collab with ABH. The colors in here are really pretty. I do not like the outer packaging. I find it kind of makes me want to itch my body. But I gotta show you this one, OA, which apparently Carly named after the show OA. You guys remember that show? How come they never resumed it? I felt like maybe I just don't remember the ending, but I felt like it was left me wanting more. Like, I wanted to know more. It's quite a bit on my fingers still, because my fingers were wet. But look at that OA shade. She is really, really pretty. I do want to swatch one more shade in here. One or two more shades, that the ones that I do really like. Okay, we're going to do these two. These two. Aura and My Angels. Let's talk about them. This is the Rose Metals. I think this came after the Primrose, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to talk about it. Let's do the shade. The formula here is so nice. Haze. Let's do Nova. Let's do Element. And what about, let's do Dune. But you didn't think I was going to do a matte, did you? Here we go. There's a lot of product on my fingers still. And then the last ABH palette in my collection is the Primrose palette. That's what it's called. Yeah, Primrose. This got a 2 face products in it as well. Here we go. So we got the eyeshadow, and then we got blush and a bronzer. Which I need to reach for this one more. I need to reach for all of them more. How about we do rose water? Let's do sparkling amber. Let's do Primrose. And why don't we do Deep Berry? I feel like this is a very girly palette. Another like super girly palette. Here we go. That's that Primrose shade. The mattes need work, but when you apply them with a brush, they're fine. I do want to swatch the face products that are in this one, the blush and the bronzer. Let's go ahead and do that real quick, although we're doing eyeshadows today, but it's okay. Blush, ooh, and bronzer. Bronzer looks very orangey, doesn't it? Here's the blush. Let's continue on. I think next, why don't we do Urban Decay and then Huda palettes. Let me go ahead and do Urban Decay first. I did get rid of a lot of my Urban Decay eyeshadow palettes. I only have 2 left in my collection. The Urban Decay Honey and the Urban Decay Wild West. I find their formula is not as good as some other brands. They used to be really nice, but then so many different eyeshadow palettes and, you know, started coming out. I haven't really played with this one since I picked it up, which I really should. Is this even still around? I'm not sure. My arm is completely stained, you guys. Okay, here she goes. This is Urban Decay Wild West. My arm, yeah, super stained. And then we have the Honey palette, which I absolutely love. The shade Queen is one of my favorite shades in here. HBIC, is it HBI? Yep. HBIC is a really pretty shade. And let's do the shade Golden. They're all really, really pretty shades. There. But look at that. The shade Queen. Definitely a favorite. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk about Huda palettes. Huda, I have 1, 2, 3 from Huda. I think I had 2 more. I passed on to some friends. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the Desert Dusk. My mom's name is Huda, by the way. This is the Desert Dusk palette. She is absolutely beautiful. Really, really pretty palette. I do like to look at those glitter shades. I do not like to play with them because they get everywhere. But she is not as loved as she should be. I need to play with her more. And how about we do Turkish Delight? So Oh, hello. Where are you? I think my fingers and my arms and all of the above are just done for the day with the swatches. There. But she's a really pretty palette. Okay, let's talk about Huda, the Mercury Retrograde. This was gifted to me, definitely out of my comfort zone. I mean, it looked so pretty when I first saw it, but I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to use this one. But I'm so happy to have it in my collection. It's really, really beautiful. I do want to show you these. Just a couple of these shades. I don't want to keep swatching because my fingers and my arms and everything is just stained. It's making it really difficult to actually show the product. But a couple of these shades will be okay. Next, we've got Huda Naughty. This is a warm tone Lovers palette. She looks delicious. Doesn't she look delicious? I mean, this looks really, really yummy. This one shade Slippery, I don't know. I think I've only swatched it once. Let's see. Can I get any of whatever these... Yeah, no. Nothing comes up except just a gloss. Yeah. Let's do Desire. Let's do this one here, which is Provocative. Let's do this one, which is Flower Power. And let's do Passion. So we got Passion, Flower Power somewhere. I don't know. There. Okay, next up, we did Huda, we did Urban Decay, we did ABH. I'm gonna start going through them without doing too many swatches because there's a lot to go still. Now I'm gonna try to fit them all into this one video. Let's do Patrick Ta. I only have one from Patrick Ta, which is his first one. This is the Major Dimension eyeshadow palette, and that's what she looks like. I recently had this in my, or I do currently have it in Shop My Stash, and I do really like it. It's a really pretty palette, very bronzy, beautiful. I like the packaging. It's just to gotta constantly wipe it, make it shiny. Okay, I think I'm gonna go ahead and grab the palettes from down here. Pull these up to the top. I do want to do all of these next. Okay, my drawer is getting real heavy. I don't want it breaking. Let's talk about all of the Dominique palettes. I have 4 of her palettes. The first one that came out, which is the Latte, that was my favorite palette. One shade in here used to be the absolute favorite shade in my entire collection until I picked up some Pat McGrath palettes, and then, but this is still so pretty. I do want to show you this one shade. Look at that shade. I think it's called Espresso. Is that what it's called? Yep, she is beautiful. That's a really pretty shade. Okay, we have, that's the latest one. I think it was followed by something, and then we got Berries and Creams. Berries and Creams is not as loved by me as her other palette, but it's really pretty. It's definitely on the cooler side, but it's really pretty. I did pick this one up when it was on sale at Sephora. We've got Dominique Celestial Storm, which is a pretty color, really pretty color. You got mattes and then some accompanying shimmers, mattes and some accompanying shimmers. It's really, really pretty. These shades are kind of like the Pat McGrath kind of shades, almost, not exact, but they kind of have a little bit of a shift. A little bit. Let me show you a couple more, because these are actually stunning. Starting to feel kind of dry. Might consider decluttering, doing a declutter soon. Starting to feel a bit dry. But the shimmers are so beautiful. And then the last Dominique Cosmetics, which is the latest one she came out with, is the Essential palette. I do really like this one. This one and the Latte are probably my favorites from her. This one is an Essential palette. It's all you would ask for, kind of. It's so pretty. I do really enjoy it. I was really happy when I played with it. The formula feels so much nicer. It feels very similar to the formula in her Latte palette, more than her Berries and Dreams and the Celestial. But there. I think that's it for Dominique. Let's go ahead and move on to Melt Cosmetics, or let's do Dose of Colors. We'll do Dose of Colors next. Okay, Dose of Colors. My first one from them was the Berries. This is the Blushing Berries. I debated decluttering this one. I actually did declutter it, and then I was like, nope, you're going back into my collection. Beautiful grungy berries palette, 5-pan, super convenient. We've got the Sassy Siennas, which is in the repackaging. This is definitely leaning more on the orange side over here, but again, it's all matte. The formula is really nice to work with. We've got Cutting Edge, which is a favorite of mine, because it's got these types of colors, all the khakis, the grungy greens, colors I really love. So there's that one. We've got Smoky Soiree. It's got some shimmers in here that are oof. This one and this one, oh my goodness. Okay, my fingers, come on fingers, work all day long. They look better with a brush, to be honest. Like these shades, they look really pretty picked up with a brush and applied like a little bit of a wet with a MAC Fix Plus. Stunning. A couple more Dose of Colors. We've got I Love Sarai with Dose of Colors collab. It's really pretty. I debated also decluttering this one, but then this shade and this shade in here, I was like, nope, I can't. I need them. I really need these shades in my life. Like this is a shimmery black. The shimmer in this black remind me of a color I used to use in my teenage years. So I'm like, yeah, I don't want to get rid of it. I don't want to get rid of it. So yep, I went through the stage where all I would put on my eyelids was a shimmery black. Hey, we were teenagers once. Mini Dose of Color. This is so pretty, so pretty, especially for this blush in here. It is such a beautiful blush. I do really like this palette. Yeah, I love it. It's kind of like the Blushing Berries palette with, you know, some other shades other than just berries. It's so pretty. I do really like it. And that blush, man, that blush. Should we swatch the blush? I don't know why Dose of Colors does not do, like, why is this not a single blush by Dose of Colors? You know, it's like that peachy shade that I really do like. And then the last Dose of Colors I own is the Dose of Colors Desi Katie collab. Yeah, this is also recently in my Shop My Stash everyday makeup drawer, and I have been really enjoying it. I have been enjoying playing with it. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about Melt Cosmetics. There are a couple Melt over here. I'm gonna start with the Gemini, Melt Gemini. I wanted this palette when it was in a stack. I wanted it so badly, but I didn't get it until it became in a palette. Really pretty, very grungy, very fall palette. It's beautiful. Next up, we've got the Rust Melt Rust palette. This is another one that I really wanted in a stack, but then I didn't pick it up. When it came into a palette form, I had to have it. It's very pretty, also very grungy, like all of Melt Cosmetics. But beautiful, super easy to work with that, with their formula. We have She's in Parties, which is now being sold at Nordstrom. I got the email this morning from Melt Cosmetics that now it's available at Nordstrom. This is a purpley lovers palette. You can have the really dark purples, you got the lighter purples, the shimmery purples, really, really pretty. Another grungy palette, but a beautiful purples. Next, from Melt, we've got Melt Impulse. This is, I gotta be careful with this one because I have a couple of these shades that always pop up. I did get this one on sale when Sephora was discontinuing it. Yeah, these shades like shatter super easily. So I gotta be really careful with this one. I think it's a stunning palette. It's heavy, like you could really do some damage if you wanted to hurt somebody with this one. You totally can do that. We'll have more. Oh no, that's not it. Where's the, oops. Oh, she's right here. I'm like, I know I had more those of colors. Okay, next, or Melt Cosmetics, we've got the Mary Jane, which I personally really loved. I know it did not get a lot of love, kind of got a lot of hate. I love this packaging on the outside, and the palette itself is really pretty. It's a little bit harder to work with, like the formula of their shimmers is kind of harder to work with. You definitely need either your fingers or a wet brush to apply it, but it's beautiful. It really is beautiful palette, and I would recommend it if you like those types of shades. Okay, and then we've got the Bad Side Zodiac. This is the Air palette. This came in a mystery box, a Melt Cosmetics mystery box. And I was actually pretty happy when I opened this one. I do want to do a couple of these swatches because I haven't yet. I haven't dipped into it. Here we go. I like it. Looks so pretty, very purpley. Pretty palette. I feel like it's another girly palette, you know? Girly colors. Okay, let's move on. What other brands do I have? Try and keep it all by brand, you know? Got Sigma. Guess not much brands. Let's go ahead and do, I have some Nabla. I have two Nablas. Let's do those two Nablas. I've got the Cutie palette. This is the Wild Berry. I did have the orangey one, Cutie palette. I did give it to a friend of mine because it just was perfect for her, and it's pretty. I do really like the Nabla formula. It's a little bit different. You know, it's a little bit on the drier side, not as super creamy and powdery, but it is a beautiful formula, really easy to work with. This shade over here reminds me of a Natasha Denona shade from her My Dream palette. So I don't want to swatch this one. I want to show you this, and this. It's like an oil slick kind of shadow. It's so weird to describe it. It feels creamy, but then when you apply it, it's a powder. Really like it. Really beautiful colors as well. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about Lorac. I have two from Lorac. I have the Pro Palette Noir and Soleil. Noir is the more cooler tone palette, and then Soleil is the more warmer tone. These are kind of convenient. I do like that they're divided pretty nicely between mattes and shimmers, or mattes and this one has more shimmery shades. The Noir has more shimmer than the Sunrise one or the Soleil one, but the formula is that Lorac formula, super creamy, powdery. So you gotta be careful when you dip into their mattes. They're both really pretty. Are they unique? No, but you get all the kind of colors that you would want for shimmers, you know? Okay, we've got by Persona 2 palettes. I have the Identity 1 and Identity 2. I do really want to pick this one up in the newer packaging. I do like this palette. It's getting kind of old. I do need to refresh it. It's a really beautiful neutral palette. Really pretty. And then the Persona 2 or the Identity 2 is more colorful for sure. Very, the formula of this one is very creamy. So when I got it from Ulta, it was damaged. I had to get it twice for it to work. And of course they send it in an envelope. I'm like, really? It's an eyeshadow palette. Why would you do that? From Sigma, I have, is it 2 Sigma palettes? Why did I think I had a third? I guess I don't. This is not Sigma. This is Sydney Grace. Okay, the 2 palettes from Sigma. I've got the Viper eyeshadow palette, which got really beautiful colors in it. Really, really pretty colors. Look at this blue. And then the pink. Let's do this green, which I never reach for, but let's do. There. My hand. Yeah. Can't keep saying it. I'm stained. Then the other Sigma is the Sigma Diana Saldana. I hope I'm saying her name right. This was gifted to me. Both Sigma palettes were gifted to me. This is so pretty, you guys. Again, you got mattes and you got the shimmery shades. Oh, this is a matte white. Really pretty palette. I do enjoy it quite a bit. Different. Okay. Do I have anything else down here? Oh, I do have one more Sigma. It's on the side. I knew I had one more Sigma. There she is. This is the Sigma Untamed palette. This was also gifted to me. I don't know why. How come I haven't purchased Sigma palettes all by myself? So you got the matte, and you got some shimmery shades. I do really like the formula, and I love the brush in here. The packaging. Look how pretty. Ooh. Let's talk about this little tiny baby one from Cosmetics. This is the Faded Clementine eyeshadow palette. I gotta be honest, when I did use this one for the first time, I did not really enjoy it. I need to play with it some more. And I just felt like it was too much color on my eyes and not enough like depth and definition. Yeah, I need to play with it some more. I like how compact it is. Like, look how cute this is. Okay, let's talk about Wayne Goss. I have just the one from him, the Luxury Eye Palette, and this is the Imperial Topaz. This is the first one he came out with, and that's all I really need from him. Just one. I do really love this shade. Oh my gosh, I got black eyeshadow on my fingers. I do really like this shade. I could use it as a like a highlighter as well, not just an eyeshadow. It's really, really pretty. Okay, let's do Buxom. This is the Ash K Home collab. Another really beautiful palette. Definitely got the colors to it, you know. But it's a really pretty palette. You can tone it down with the neutrals and just use a pop or two of color. Pretty. Let's talk about this one. This is the Ace Beauté. This is the Violet Sage. This came in, I want to say a boxy charm. Honestly, I haven't played with this one yet. So we're going to swatch it because, oh my God, ooh, that feels so nice. Anemone, Wisteria, and hydrangea. I know that that's a name of a flower, but I don't think I'm pronouncing it right. Ooh, I really need to get on it and start using this one. Look at that purple. My gosh. Look at my fingers. My gosh. All right. We've got On the Horizon. Is it called On the Horizon? Yes. On the Horizon. This is Sydney Grace collab with Temptalia, one of them. Another really pretty palette. Very beautiful colors in here. But, you know, toned down color, not bam in your face or what's the word, like neon-y color, nothing like that. It's just beautiful toned down colors. And the packaging, what? So pretty. All right, let's do this one because this one is fun. This is a Plain Jane by Adapt Cosmetics, and all of the shades in here are kind of like shimmery or duochrome, trichrome. They have really beautiful reflex, and I'm so happy to have it. My friend sent this to me. She is beautiful. Okay, these are, let's do this now. And then I'm gonna save these two to the end because they're singles. From Eloise, this is Sahara Nights. This is all shimmer, but beautiful shimmers, very beautiful shimmers. This also came in a BoxyCharm, I wanna say. We've got Uma. This is Black Magic palette and the Poise Black Magic. This was sent to me by my friend as well. She was decluttering it and I was like, I want it. I want it. This is a deeper neutral palette. You can definitely go grungy with this one, or you don't have to go grungy. You can just keep it toned down. I really enjoy it. I think this was my favorite Uma palette. I had two other ones. One was super colorful, which was, I want to say, the Carnival, which I passed on to a friend, and I had another one. I can't remember what it was called. The Allure palette. That also, I traded this one for that one with my friend. Let's do Lime Crime, the Greatest Hits Bangers. This is, I declared all of my other Lime Crime palettes because I felt like this has everything that I would need from them. And I really think it's a pretty palette. I don't reach for it that often because when I think about Lime Crime, I think about color, lots of color. But this is actually pretty, not as bad as I imagine in my head. This is probably the brightest shade, these two in here, but she needs some love for sure. Let's do Fenty Beauty. I have her 3 and 4 6-pan palettes. It's been a long time since I used them. I remember really enjoying them, but it's been a while. The 3 is more bronzy and the 4 is more on the pink tone. From MAC, we have the Art Library Nude Model. This is just a basic nude palette. Some mattes, some shimmers. Not many foils in here, just the one, but yeah. Let's do this Man Eater by Tarte. This kind of surprised me. I know it was getting a lot of good reviews, and I was like, okay, time to try it. Time to try Nars, not Nars, Tarte again. And I liked it for the most part. I just felt like the mattes still needed more work. Some of like these shimmery ones, they definitely, my brush really needed to be wet to get that exact color payoff. Otherwise, it was very muted down. But overall, it's pretty, and I do like the formula. We have the Lunar Beauty Nude Prism palette. We're getting close, you guys. I know it's been another really long video, but the Nude Prism by Lunar Beauty. This also, I feel like this with the Essentials palette from Dominique Cosmetics, and I could have all of them, you know, neutrals that I would want, mattes and shimmers. She's so pretty. The lighter mattes, the deeper mattes, and then all the shimmers. I do like the packaging on this one too. I like the moon like looking like this, you know, 3D-ish, extruded out of the palette. We've got Nomad Haunted Europe. It's got you guys remember these when we were young? They made all the rulers like that. Maybe when I was young, not you. This is a haunted palette. That's what you would think about when you think about a haunted palette. It's got the kind of like the grays. It's got it's beautiful, but I haven't reached for it in quite some time. I don't know why. I gotta play with it. I gotta play with all of my eyeshadows. Not that many to go through over here. Okay, let's talk about this tiny baby. This is by Viseart. I don't know how I missed it earlier, but this is the Theory 4? Theory 2 Minx palette. This is just 6 pans in here. You can move them, like if you have other of the Viseart palettes, you can organize them however you want. 3 mattes and then 3 shimmers. When I first picked this guy up, I could not stop using it. I love the formula. Now it's been a long time. From Orb of Light, the full moon palette. I really like this one too. I saw it in store. It's Black Moon palette, Black Moon Cosmetics. I saw it at Ulta and I swatched it. I was like, I need it. The formula has definitely changed. I think this is something that I'm gonna need to declutter pretty soon. But yeah, the formula has changed. It's not as creamy or as blendable as it used to be. I don't know if this is supposed to be a clean. It's vegan and cruelty free, so that's probably why the formula definitely changed on here. Yeah, it's not the same as it used to be, but I can't seem to let it go. We've got Kat Von D, the 10-year anniversary palette. I don't know how many guys I open this guy and I close it, open it and close it, debate getting rid of it and then not. I love the colors in here just to look at. I love the packaging itself also to look at. I've used it the couple times I've used it. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't amazing. I just love the packaging. And then we've got the 2 Z palettes. This has mainly Sydney Grace. In here, I do have a couple e.l.f. This is Dose of Color shade. These are e.l.f.'s, the ones that have the eye on them. What brand is this one? This is Tarte, and the shade is Shakedown. Yeah, these are all Sydney Grace. I can't remember what the 9-pan palette was called, like the combo of this. What was it called? And then another Z palette, and this is all Makeup Geek. I think these are like the Makeup Geek reformulated, and then these are some of their original shades. Kind of sucks they're no longer around, but yeah, these are Makeup Geeks in here. Okay, you guys, we made it to the last makeup or eyeshadow palette drawer. This is mainly a drugstore palette. We're gonna try and go through it pretty quick because I know this video is already pretty long. I'm gonna start with, let's do ColourPop. I do have quite a few by ColourPop, so let's do these. I'm gonna start with the smallest ColourPop palette, which is the Secret Life of Scorpio. She is so pretty and so beautiful. It's just a 4-pan palette, but it's absolutely stunning. We've got It's My Pleasure. This is a purpley palette. Pretty, really pretty purples in here. It's a 9-pan. Let's do the other 9-pan palettes. We've got the Mandalorian, not the Mandalorian. This is the Child. I do not have the actual Mandalorian, but the Child. ColourPop collab with Star Wars. We've got, let's do these first. We've got At Forest Side, which was Brow Beauty Christie collab with ColourPop. I do really like this palette. I think the colors in here are stunning. And the formula is really nice. We've got ColourPop Butter Me Up. It's another purpley cooler tone palette. I do really like this one. I do not like these 2 shimmers. They just get everywhere, or glitters, they get everywhere, but everything else in this palette is really pretty. We've got X's and O's, which is a Valentine's Day palette. Lots of neutrals in here. We've got Plush Like Me, which I do really like the packaging of this one. It's got the plushy packaging, outer packaging, and there she is. Okay, now we have the Hocus Pocus, the first Hocus Pocus collab, Gather Round Sisters, which I was looking on Poshmark, and people are selling this for like 90 bucks. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's really pretty, and I guess if you are a fan of Hocus Pocus, then maybe you would pay that, but that's a lot of money. I don't like when people do that. And then we've got the second one, which is the Witching Hour. Actually, I really like this one too. There she is. It's the second Hocus Pocus they released. And then we have one more ColourPop, which is a really one of their like, huge ones, the big palette. And this is It's a Mood palette. It's got all the colors you might want. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about Glamlight, because I got a couple from Glamlight. Let's talk about them. The first one is the Glamlight Glamorous Pie or some pie palette, the pie palette. I do really like the blush that's in here. These colors are so beautiful. I do enjoy this one from Glamlight. The mini taco palette, Street Taco. There's the Street Taco palette. Another beautiful colors, but I don't wear colors like this, and you know, been considering getting rid of these. And then the Viva palette, which is the bigger taco palette. The colors in here are not as pastel as the mini. You know, like how these are more or neon-y, you know. This one is a little bit more just normal matte colors, but they're so pretty. It's just beautiful, and I love tacos. I live in Southern California. How could I not love tacos? We have the paint palette. What is this one called? I can't remember what this one's called. Yeah, paint palette. So my son loves to play with this one. He loves art and painting. You can see it's pretty dirtied up. The mattes in here are very, very bright, but the shimmers are really beautiful. We have two more from Glamlight. We've got the hamburger palette, the burger palette. Packaging is so big, but it's so cute. It looks like a hamburger. More color. Got more and more color here. A lot more color. I think I've only used this one once. And we got the last Glamlight palette, which is the Michaela Collab Glamlight. I do love this packaging. The shimmers in here, I like the shimmers from Glamlight a lot. The formula of their shimmers is really, really nice. Their mattes are pretty nice, but too much for me because they're too much color. But if you're a color lover, oof, this is the brand for you. Almost there, my friends. Not much left. Let's talk about these two little minis from e.l.f. These are the bite-size eyeshadow palettes. I have the shade Cream and Sugar, sorry, and Truffles. This is Truffles and this is Cream and Sugar. I did have the pumpkin one. I think I passed it on to my aunt. She really wanted it. I should pick it up again if they still have it. From Flower Beauty, we've got the Jungle palette. This is the first one. Really pretty shimmers in here. From Beauty Bakery, we got Proof in the Pudding eyeshadow palette. It's a neutral palette. From BH Cosmetics, I've got the Desert Oasis palette. I love this one for the highlighter shades. I do really like it, or I used to like the formula of this one a lot more. I feel like it's getting old, but the highlighters in there are really pretty. From LA Girl, we've got Hey Hey Vacay, which is Under the Palms. So 2 names to it, I think. But the formula in here is really nice. It reminds me a lot of Glamlight shimmers. From Beauty Bay, we've got the Wilderness. This also reminds me a lot of the Glamlight formula. Their shimmers, their mattes, and their colors, really beautiful. Another super colorful palette. 3 more palettes and then we'll be done. We've got the Cara Beauty With You eyeshadow palette. This is a nice neutral travel palette. Really, really cute. The colors in here are really nice too. From Juvia's, this is the only one I have left. This is the Saharan. Juvia is another brand that does lots of color and too much for me. More than I could use on my eyes. But this one, I just love it. That's the first one. I don't know. And then the last eyeshadow palette in my collection is Moira, All That Is You. This is the Blueberry Muffin palette. I did not realize that that was its name. Really pretty purples in here. The mattes are so pretty. And that's it. That concludes my eyeshadow palette collection, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this second video. If you did, please make sure to go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel before you leave. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.